He is the coach for the aforementioned Joanna champion, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. First time cornering her. This is big. Joanna Jędrzejczyk was on this show not that long ago talking about moving to Florida, joining the American Top Team. And in my opinion, I was just talking to a manager about this 2 days ago. Mike Brown, who we've talked about on this show before, who we've had as a coach on this show before, developing into one of the best minds in this sport. He is joining us right now to preview that title fight. Mike, are you there?
I'm here, yeah. Thanks for having me on.
It is a pleasure as always, Mike. So when did you find out that Joanna was going to be joining the team?
Yeah, wow, this is, it wasn't long ago, maybe 9 or 10 weeks ago, I got a call from Perfecting Athletes saying that Joanna wanted to make a move to American Top Team, and can we make it possible? And we did. So we just did our first training camp together, and things went well, making some adjustments, and I think she's going to show some nice improvements for this fight.
So you talk about the adjustments, Mike. I mean, this is someone undefeated in the UFC, has been dominating her competition. Was there like a process, sort of a feeling out process, where you don't want to make too many adjustments because it's working, but clearly she moved for a reason. Clearly she chose you guys for a reason. So how did you navigate those waters?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, some improvements, or maybe probably won't see a whole lot of changes for a while, because obviously it's whatever she's doing is working very well. She's undefeated world champion. There's not many of those out there, so she's definitely a gifted athlete and knows what she's doing.
Did you, again, speaking of navigating the waters, I mean, you guys have a lot of strawweights at ATT. I think of Jessica Aguilar. Who else is there? We've got Tisha Torres, who's there. I mean, I know Amanda Nunes, Nina Ansaroff. So was that an issue as well? I mean, you're bringing someone who these women are, hoping to fight in the not too distant future.
Right. I mean, I think it was kind of the timing of it all. I think, as of right now, all of our 115 pounders weren't ready for the title shot. I think all of them were kind of coming off a loss, so nobody was really ready immediately. So I think that gave a little bit of a window for her to come in. So we know she has some people that she can fight before that opportunity will arise. Hopefully we'll run into that problem in the future, that we have a couple ATT fighters that need to fight each other. But as of right now, we're safe.
Were you surprised at her tenacity, at the way she attacks training, the way she attacks it mentally? I mean, I've heard stories about just how intense she is. I mean, she's a champion for a reason. She's a pro for a reason. She's considered one of the best fighters in the world for a reason. Were you surprised by her overall package?
I mean, it's really impressive, but I kind of wasn't surprised by looking and watching her, her training videos before and watching her fight. I would have guessed that she was, trained like an animal, and I mean, that's what makes her so good, a crazy work ethic, a really strong mind, and really a yearning to want to get better at, especially moving, across the world to a new gym. When you're in a great spot, you're undefeated world champ. So, I mean, that shows a lot about her character.
I'm sure for someone like you, chemistry is an important thing to have with a fighter, especially going into such a big fight. How long did it take for you to feel like, okay, we're clicking here, we're ready? I'm assuming it didn't happen, after the first or second training session. How long, mentally did you feel comfortable with the whole situation of cornering her going into this historic card?
Oh, I think, a week in New York promoting the fight helped.
Yeah.
We went there for a week, and just being around, watching her train, doing some conditioning together, and talking, about the game, philosophies and ideas, and we were on the same page, and it all made sense. I think she's trusted me, and of course, I see amazing potential in her, and she's just a really amazing person.
You get the impression that this is a little more personal for her because it's Poland versus Poland?
Yeah, there's probably got to be some of that. I mean, she doesn't, talk about things like that, but I would assume, somewhere in the back of her head that is so, part of a motivation. I mean, it is for any other athlete. It would be for me when I know when I've fought people in the past that maybe who lived a little closer to home. I had a little extra push, a little extra drive to make sure I had a great performance.
Okay, so you're going into this fight. I mean, you're cornering her for the first time. There's a lot of novelty to this, and it's at MSG. I mean, there's so much going on for you. And I was talking to Duke about this. For a guy who's been around the sport, you're kind of you're kind of a sport historian as well for MMA. I mean, I know you appreciate everything that's happened to get to this point. You're a former champion. Just getting to be at MSG for a UFC event to corner a champion. What does this mean for Mike Brown?
I mean, it's really cool. It's really. I'm just happy where the sport is going, and I'm just so happy to be part of it. 'Cause, I do love the sport, and it's given my life to it, and what a historical night it's going to be, and be part of it's a true honor to be in the camp of such a great athlete who has potential to be the greatest women's fighter of all time.
Yeah. When do you get to New York?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Have you ever attended an event at MSG before as a fan? Just any kind of concert?
The only thing I went to the Wrestling World Championships there a few years back. Well,
okay.
Probably 10 years back now.
Oh, wow.
Whatever it was. But yeah, they had the Wrestling World Championships were there the 1 year. I think that's the only event I've attended there.
And that was
a hockey game recently for the promotion. But.
That's right. Okay, so you've been there since the renovation. I saw that you were with her, I think, for a Rangers game, right? Yeah. I mean, a very special place. You know that it's always a big deal whenever someone is doing an event at MSG. You know that, and Saturday night is no different. I don't have to tell you that. So, what concerns you as her coach about Karolina? Is there anything? I mean, when you look at her last opponents, especially as champion, and I know you weren't there for them as far as cornering her is concerned, but when you compare Karolina to the Claudia Gadelias of the world, the Jessica Penes of the world, the Valerie Letourneaus of the world, another ATT fighter, by the way, do you feel like she's on their level? I feel like it's all happening a little soon for Karolina. I mean, she came into the UFC less than a year ago, big win over Rose, not taking anything away from her, but do you feel like she's on the level of the kind of competition that Joanna has been facing as of late in the UFC?
Yeah, I think she squeaked by in a couple of those fights where she had I think three split decision wins where those fights were really close, and I think Rose is truly the better fighter in that fight, but Rose seemed to fatigue and kind of gas out a little bit in that fight. I think Karolina has very good conditioning. She's very tough, but I think Joanna is technically the superior fighter. So, I think that's going to be the big difference. And, I think that Joanna should be a favorite and for good reason.
Sure. She's gone the distance her last two fights, Letourneau and Gadelia. Gadelia was somewhat of a comeback. Are you thinking finish this time around?
I'm confident she will win. I'm not sure how, and I'm not sure when. But if she lands her shots and puts the pressure and really brings the heat like she can, I don't think it'll go the distance. Maybe second or third. She'll wear her down and break her with volume.
Two other things I wanted to ask you before I let you go. I understand the somewhat controversial Greg Hardy has been training at ATT. Have you worked with him at all?
He's come to a couple classes. He's been here for like a week and a half. But I don't know a whole lot about him. I'm not a guy who watches sports besides MMA and a little bit of boxing and wrestling, but that's about it. But he's here to learn and try to get better.
Any reservations about having him in the gym, given his past?
Honestly, I don't really know about his past. I know he got in trouble for some domestic violence. But
yeah.
I haven't looked into really what happened, so I don't know the story. Maybe I should learn about it.
So the main thing is you don't really have a sense for what kind of a fighter he can be. You haven't really worked with him all that closely.
I mean, he's been here a week.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I can I see him. He's just starting out. I can see he's a very good athlete.
Yeah.
He's a very big athlete. Tall, 260, 270 pounds, probably. Looks pretty lean. So, I mean, heavyweight's a different animal. You know, it's not as deep as a lot of the weight classes, and there's not a lot of big athletes, you know, in the heavyweight division like that, because usually they tend to go to other sports where they can make a lot of money.
Right.
So I think it's a division where you can make a quicker rise to the top, or at least to the, you know, top echelon. But who knows how quick he'll pick it up and when all this will go down.
Another ATT fighter, Thiago Alves, longtime ATT fighter, is on the card, making his lightweight debut. How is that going? Do you have any insight? Are you going to corner him as well?
I don't think I will. I'll be there to help him a bit and throughout the week, but I don't think he'll be in his corner. Man, I'm super excited. He's a longtime friend and training partner of mine. I'm super psyched to see him at this weight. You know, he's such an amazing striker. You know, he's always been given, you know, quite a bit of reach at 170 pounds. He's not the tallest guy. You know, I'm probably 5'8" or 5'9", I'm not sure. But he's now finally he's going to be the taller guy, which is probably the first time in his career, you know?
Yeah.
And now we'll really be able to see him use that you know, awesome Muay Thai skills that he possesses and be able to let that stuff go a little more freely.
Last thing, 2 weeks ago on this program, Uriah Faber announced his retirement. He said in December it will be his last fight, the fight against Brad Pickett, a man you know a thing or two about. When I think of Faber, I think of you. Two of the best fights in WEC history. Those were the moments where I think you really kind of burst on the scene and became champion and cemented your legacy in this sport. What was your reaction when you heard that all these years later, Uriah was going to finally hang them up?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's done awesome, and I think it's probably time. You know, he's still training, or he's still looking good in his fights. You know, he's lost 3 of his last 4, but they're all to really great fighters: Frankie Edgar, Dominic Cruz, and Jimmy Rivera. You know, no shame in those losses. But he is, you know, 37, 38 years old. He can't do it forever. You know, he's really left quite the legacy, and it's really cool to see his last fight against my very good friend, one of my best friends in the world, Brad Pickett. Really interesting, really cool fight. I'm excited. Brad is really excited about the fight. It's going to be a memorable one with 2 guys that are super, super exciting and super fun to watch.
So you're going to give Brad the secret as to how to spoil the party in Sacramento once again.
That's what we're coming to do.
All right. I look forward to that. For now, though, I look forward to Saturday night. Best of luck to you guys. Very cool that you'll be cornering Joanna in the very first UFC strawweight title fight at MSG. How about that? Best of luck to you guys. Mike, thank you very much for the time before you head out to New York, and I look forward to seeing you out here.
Okay, thanks a ton.
All right, there he is, Mike Brown, coach for Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She defends her title against fellow Polish fighter Karolina Kowalkiewicz this Saturday at Madison Square Garden. It is so exciting just to say that. Somewhat surreal to say that. It feels so great. I feel it in my heart. I just feel a lot of warmth. You know what I'm really excited about? In a couple minutes, we are going to be joined in studio by Conor McGregor's head coach, John Kavanagh. Now, as you know, if you've been watching the show for the last few years, we have made it somewhat of a tradition on the Monday before a Conor McGregor title fight or non-title fight, as it were, at 196 and 202. We talked to John Kavanagh, usually from the site of the fight. Boston, it was back when he was going to fight Max Holloway. We've done it in Vegas, etc., etc. Ireland as well. This time around, the fight's in New York. So guess what? He can be sitting right here in studio to help us preview it all. How exciting is this? John Kavanagh in studio in a matter of moments to talk about the UFC 205 main event between Conor McGregor and Eddie Alvarez, champion versus champion. Conor trying to make history as the first man to hold 2 titles at the same time. And his guy, the guy behind the guy, is going to be sitting right here next to me in around 5 or so minutes time.